feel you need to go? What have you learnt from this morning?
Drop and pop for me.
Backswing.
Backswing.
Yeah, I'm having trouble feeling comfortable with it.
Okay.
It's like when I got the club, I don't quite. I can feel it better now without the club. Is that?
Yeah, that's great. Yes.
Is that what I want?
Yeah.
Okay. That answer that.
Everybody's hit the nail on the head and they've said, is this what I need to do? And they're doing it. So it's like, yeah, you're doing what you need to do, because you kind of, so knowledge and experience is intuition. So you're gaining both here, but in a way that's got rationale and understanding to it, so that you are starting to recognise sensations. Previously, these things were unnoticed. These just weren't even part of your consciousness. So that was never recognised, that movement, or the importance of it, the kind of the value, the meaning. So straight away, he's just diagnosed it himself and showed me what he needs to do. Okay, and then he's going to go and practice that and then give more feedback. But when he's talking to me, he's really talking to himself. So what we're really doing here in this course, this school, is we're just changing your self-talk. We're suggesting self-talk, so that your self-talk actually drives your actions, because your self-talk is literally directing where your focus is. But you need some information to guide you. So what we're doing here is we're providing an information, so there's an understanding, so that intuitively you know where to go, like you just did. That's coaching yourself, okay? As opposed to having to be on the end of a coach's telephone all the time and having to book in for next week, so I'm not quite sure. And I have to book in again, and every time there's potentially a different theme. Obviously, if you've got a good relationship, I was talking to Eric earlier about, he's got a lot of long-term and regular clients, so you've got a relationship. So if you've got a relationship like that with your coach, that's amazing. But what can tend to happen is you jump from coach to coach to coach, the same way that you think of swing thought after swing thought after swing thought, and it's a got it, lost it kind of mentality, and you're never really spending enough time in one place, mentally, physically, to actually develop awareness, to recognise what we just heard then. Because we've done a lot already today, but we're gonna press on, because that was a very pertinent point. How do I start it? Well, you've already been starting it, because when we did the left to right, you've already started to tap into these chains. Okay. We're going to look at release patterns. We're going to look at low point. That's where we're going to go. And wobble boards. Would you rather just grab the wobble boards? So we're going to look a little bit more at low point and how we recognise the organisation of our movement in terms of meaning, outcome. So if I was to do this, you know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
If I was going to go like this, you know what I'm going to do. This, you kind of know what sport I'm playing and what I'm about to do. Okay, so there's already an understanding of what I'm about to do. I don't even need the instrument. I don't even need to be in the gameplay, and you can tell what I'm going to do. What we're tapping into is the purpose of your rehearsal swing, and that's a much better thing to say when Eric was talking about rehearsal, in my opinion, than practice, because you're not practicing. What you're practicing for, you may never even get there. You might be practicing for something that never even happens. I'm practicing for something that I don't know if I'm going to ever do, but if you're rehearsing something, you've already played it in your mind. So maybe it's just context, maybe it's just language. But we've got to be careful with the language that we're using, because that's driving where our focus is, and it's driving our intention. So there's a whole different thing that goes with this, but we're going to talk about how your upper body complies with lower body. So you're all going to get a go on this, then we're going to go onto the vector map, and then we're going to start looking at moving and exploring three-dimensional movement of the low point, because when you move low point, essentially you are creating now the conditions to use the ground and release the club, and it's going to swing to the low point. So wherever that low point is, you're setting up your swing direction, where you are in space in terms of, if you like, the incline, the angle of attack, if you like, where the low point is, if it's further back or forward, is it out to the right, to the left, where do you feel yourself moving it? And is it going up or down? You can have a low point that's forward of the ball, but it could be up in the air. So you can be moving forward, see a lot of people move forward, but this is what I'm going to talk about in a minute, is how do you recognise the whole system moving the low point. I can do that, and my low point's above the floor. Because if I take that, where's the hoop? Sorry, just grab the hoop. Hoop and a couple of sticks, I think. Thanks, George. So if we take the left shoulder, look, I'm using this as centripetal point. So if I extend out, that's my swing radius. Okay, so the swing is going from narrow, it's not staying wide all the time, it's going to be narrow for leverage, and then it's going to widen out, it's going to widen out to the low point. So there's a lot of things we've got to synchronise. I could move like this, and what you'll see often is people who shift and then start to do this. And they're so focused on the lower body, but they're so used to hitting early, they're like this, and the low point is off the floor in front of the ball. So essentially now, well, that's not the low point, it's the plate, that's where the centre is. The low point's back here. Okay, so if
anyone recognises one of these sticks, I can just took it out of someone's bag, I'll give it back afterwards.
So we're talking about this and this and this, and when you move, you're setting it up, but then as you push off the floor, it's moving. You've got a lot of things to time. Okay, so we don't need to think about all this. We're going to get feedback that's going to give us the information we need from how we're moving. What we're going to recognise is the feelings we're getting with our body to play around with how we're delivering the golf club, where the low point is, the divots we're taking. Are we able to take a shallow divot, a bigger divot? Are we able to just brush the grass? What's our level of control on this end of the chain, down here? Have we got that fine element to that motor skill down here? Because this is the fine end of the motor skill. This is a gross motor skill. Anyone can work on gross motor patterns. Okay? Because it's so obvious. When you get down to the finer level, that's what separates people. But if you can seriously disadvantage yourself mechanically by moving into a place where you are now introducing the necessity for lots of compensatory patterns, and we're so good at compensating that the body creates a solution, but it might not be as desirable in terms of repetitiveness, if you like, consistency. So we've got to make the movements that we recognise that are able us to deliver the golf club and play the shot we intend. So how do we recognise this movement? Well, first of all, we've got to explore our movements, because now we're going to talk about upper body, not just lower body, but upper body too. And then we're going to explore, with a club in the hand too, what effect this has. Because I'm just spouting a load of words at the moment. It means nothing physically. Okay, it's just conceptual. You've got to experience it. But I'm just laying the foundations. We're going to be moving this around. Okay, it's not really a circle, but it's a form of an arc, and it's ever changing. Okay, so we're going to be moving this around. You'll, just as I mentioned earlier about, you could tell what kind of action I'm going to intend to make before I make it. You've got to know this before you swing a golf club. So you don't find your golf swing on a golf shot, you're taking a golf swing to that golf shot. So it becomes part of a routine. So you're standing behind the ball and you're rehearsing, you're taking that understanding, intention, feel, movement, and you're going to just then go and replay it, a version of it, as closely as possible. And then if the shot doesn't do what you wanted it to do, but the feeling was good, you've got to go back to the beginning and change what you intended originally to do, because if it felt okay but you didn't get the shot, then the decision making wasn't right and the rehearsal wasn't right. If you didn't do what you intended to do here and you get a bad shot, you can't be mad with yourself because you didn't intend to do here what you felt and intended there. So there's any problem here with the actual execution. So this is going to decide where you go with your, dare I say it, not practice, but with your play, you explore. What am I going to do? If I gave you a bucket of balls now and said go and hit some, what are you going to do? So that is the question I would ask yourself every time you go to the range, or before you even go to the driving range. Why am I going? What am I going to do when I get there? What are my intended outcomes? And am I going to allow myself to get distracted during the session by some kind of unexpected but kind of erroneous results? Am I going to let that drive me emotionally and start to affect my intention behind why I went to the driving range? Or am I going there with a plan and a purpose and a structure and an understanding of the feedback loops? So what we're creating here is an environment for learning which has got the support with all the exercises, the feedback loops, and understanding of how to use them, and then learn to attune yourself to them in terms of regulation. So you can actually now recognise, and you're feeling the swing in terms of the feeling of the golf swing, what that shot, before you even play it, feels like. And then the fun is, does this feeling I've got produce that shot? 'Cause that's what I imagine. So we're going to start talking about drawing, fading, things like this, because at the end of the day it's controlling spin. All this really is just setting up the foundations.
Marcus,
So
before you move on, what if like you have a fade feeling, but that just makes a straight shot happen?
yeah,
You know, like I might feel a 20-yard fade, but that just makes a straight shot happen. So how do you then like adjust field to match real a little better?
well, it's kind of that's attunement, because I would say that's like driving your car and imagining you're going 20 degrees left to go straight,
Yeah.
or aiming at the 5 on a dartboard to go straight. So that's a
Not
kind of
ideal, permanent solution. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
It's a quick fix.
Okay.
So it's not. I say it's a quick fix. It depends on the context of it. So if you're going to play and hit lots of shots, suddenly that becomes potentially your new straight.
Yeah.
So because essentially you've got a bias.
Yeah.
So you've got a bias, and the way you've been practicing is it's a habit, and it's just essentially you're just attuning yourself to something different relative to what you did previously. So it's only relative to what you were doing previously going left. It's actually going probably straight, but to you it feels left just because before you arrived. So to continue to go left, eventually at some point that's going to be your straight. But what I would say is then I would want to explore what's further left. Because if that's left and that's straight to you, what actually makes it really left?
Yeah.
Now you're creating some coordinate system, because you've got to have some reference on both sides. You've got to explore the range at both ends, not the full range. We're not saying we go flat out, but we've got to explore the yin and the yang. So that's only my opinion, but that's how I would say. You've got to. What you're talking about here is differentiation. So you've got to be able to differentiate between what's left, what's right, what's straight, because you're not looking where you're going. Golf's so different to other sports. You're looking down, but going that way. Golf is this. You're throwing a ball, but you're looking down here. So it's like, well, how do I know where to go? Because this feels super strange. And guess what? If I said to you, if I put a bucket there and said there's $10,000 for landing it in the bucket, guess where the last place you're going to be looking is? Okay. And where do most people spend most of the time looking? So you'd be wanting to get as much information before you actually have to go as possible. You won't want to take your eye off that until you have it's absolutely necessary to actually pull the trigger and go. Because the requirement would be you've got to look down here. You'll be wanting to spend as much time here because this means nothing. Or very little. Because this ain't going to guarantee me getting this in that bucket for $10,000. Neither is this, neither is this, neither is this. This is, and I'm not even thinking of this. We're talking putting as well. This is where we go with putting to start with. Okay. So you'd be this way. Okay. And so just think of that scenario. The circumstances that it's $10,000 for a basket or getting a bucket is irrelevant. It's the fact that you're going that way. You should be doing this anyway. You shouldn't need $10,000 to have to look that way or a chance of winning it. So you'd be this way and you'd be zoning in. You'd be simulating, thinking about what height do I need? The wind's changing. I've only got one go. I've not got a basket with 100 balls in. I'm here. You'd be so immersed, you probably wouldn't even want to, you'd be waiting for that sweet spot in time when you really feel it, and then it's like, right, I've got to go. Trust it, commit, leap of faith time. That's a golf shot. So you've already blessed with all this. You're able to do this, but we've become so distanced from this. And we think that this and this, I'm not saying it's not going to help, it's going to help in some way, shape or form, but is it truly connecting you to this finer motor element of the skill? Because it's this that's delivering the club, not this, not this, not the feet. It's this that's delivering it. So it's kind of, and hitting the ball, should I say, not just delivering it, it's hitting it. It's like, so that's what we need to focus on. Ground reaction forces are all great, and this is the thing about GRF. It's not really the ground that's reacting, it's you. The ground's not reacting, the ground's doing nothing. The thing that's reacting is us. So we're attuning ourselves to how we react. So Cheryl was talking earlier about pushing into the ground. We don't never push into the ground, we push off the ground. We're loading. Loading's passive. Loading's passive because when you free fall, you're accelerating. So it's free load. It's free. You're getting a free engagement. It costs nothing to let your centre of mass fall. But what it does is it eccentrically loads us to spring up. But if we think about pushing into the floor, I'm using the wrong muscular contraction. I'm contracting to go into the floor. Okay, I should be falling. It should be soft. It should be just lengthening, ready to spring. Does that make sense? That is quick. What you've already been doing is you've been eccentrically loaded here. So if you've seen like watch a lifter land a clean, they're falling. It's like, look at the energy here. If I spring off the floor, look at my shoulders. I'm not trying to do that. But if I try and do this, okay, look, I'm elevating my shoulders, same movement, but very different. Now, what I'm able to do here, I could let this go. Whereas here, so when you work from the club back, it's tensioning, 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 and everything's reacting this way. That's not to say it can't work, 'cause it works both ways, but most of us spend so long doing this, okay? We've got to use our kinetic chain. So it's not just doing it in that direction in a golf swing, you're doing it this direction. And you're doing it in this direction too, side to side, up and down, rotation. So the one thing that most people don't really explore that I find, because we've got to be able to transfer, these forces through to the golf club. The one thing we're going to look at is side bend, okay, lateral flexion and rotation. What can your torso do? So if you were throwing a ball, you naturally laterally flexing, naturally, okay, because this, okay, gives you that. When you do that to your torso, it's going to give you this. So it's the frontal plane torque, it's a rotation. So we want that with rotation loaded. Then everything can go. So your spine, when you bend to the golf ball, does this. Does that, it's an S. Okay? So your spine's not straight, of course, it's S-shaped. If I rotate an S, what happens to the top of the S in terms of the ground? What's going to happen to that distance if I rotate an S? What's going to happen to that? So there's an S. This point here, what's going to happen to the top of that? Pardon? It's going to go further away. So if I've got an S shape and I rotate, I'm going further away. So what do I need to do to get closer? When I've rotated, I need side bend. So this is going, and I can let it go. I want it to go. I want this to go up. I want my body to unweight. But to maintain some structural integrity to the whole system, I've got a side bend, and I can go up, and I'm maintaining the integrity to the motion. I'm not creating unnecessary needs for wild movement solutions, okay, which might be seen as swing faults, okay, flaws. We're creating the mechanical advantages instead of disadvantages. So I want you to explore what it is to side bend, okay, and it's this. And that looks a bit maybe strange, but if I side bend, if I laterally flex to my left here and then rotate to the right, and it looks like a bit of a swing. Okay. If I just let my arms swing and do this, and side bend and rotate, you end up here. So your arms are free swinging. So I'm moving my torso to let my arms swing. So I'm making it as easy as possible to do what you were saying earlier, to swing it back. I don't need to introduce all this unnecessary tension to repeat some kind of feeling in space. So what we're doing, like we've done with the feet, the ankles, the knees, the hips, we've done some upper body, but not really. We went straight to the golf club to let the upper body kind of adjust. We're just going to focus on the upper body a little bit, then we're going to go into low point. Because this, as I mentioned, I touched on it earlier, as I lower my low point, how am I getting down there? What have I had to do? I've had to side bend, I've had to rotate, there's some extension, but rotation and side bend. That gives me the chance now to use my extension, my push off, and then hit the ground as I'm going up. So if you go early, if we're not using the ground and we're not able to drop to then pop, if we go early, the centre of the swing, you can see where I've gone now. It doesn't matter how I use the ground here, well, I've probably got to do things like this to get a strike. And then people go, well, you're swaying, okay? But you've got to. But if I do this, now I've got the opportunity to go up and strike the ground there. So I'm just creating opportunity. So there's no necessity to move a particular way. You'll all have your own way of doing it, but we've got to combine these vital components in our own way, but we need the components. So this is what the wobble board's for. Well, one of the exercises. So we're going to go on the wobble boards. We've got 6, perfect. So we're going to go forward and back. So it's like the balance pad. We're going to go side to side, and I'm going to watch how you go side to side. In fact, I need to do this first for profiling. It's going to tell me what we're going to see is how comfortable you feel moving. Because we've got to lead the nervous system in. We've got to be gentle with it. We've got to just tease our way into the system. Then we can start to make some changes, and then the body starts to accept it. If we just go straight in and start doing big movements, it's like to the body. It's going to respond with resistance. Then we've got to go in smooth. Okay, so if you want to get up, guys, and plus we want to start working our lunch off. Big thanks to Eric. That was awesome. Thank you, Eric. Exactly. Crack the whip. Everyone find some space and find a wobble board. And I'll talk about this other stuff in a minute. Yeah, you take it, Stan. I'm gonna borrow one in a minute just to show you. But I actually could probably just do it. Oh, we need. We'll have to share. Jack, yeah. Is there any? Oh, we brought 6.
That's all I can see.
Is there one in my golf one?
I've got that already. No.
Okay, guys. So you're going to first of all start with. It's a bit easier on grass, so you're getting off lightly. Legs straight, just as we did before. Toe to heel, heel to toe. Now it's much bigger. It's a bigger drop. Can you push all the way to the floor? Going forward. So we're actually loading you up a little bit more here. Go back and forth, from toe to heel, legs straight, so it's going to lift you up as you go forward. That's it. Good, Cheryl. Keep the legs straight. That's it. So it's really working your calves. So don't do too much. Brilliant, guy. If you want to just switch and let Jack have a go. Now I want you to go, guys. I'll just have a go, Jack. That's it. Okay, now there's lots of other stuff we can do with this, but we're going to just do front to back, side to side. Now I want you to go side to side.
Bend the knees in circles.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not possible really. Bending the knees. See if you can keep your heels down as you do it. So you're having to use knee flexion and hip flexion. So your hips are going to have to move more. Okay, so if you raise your heel, you're cheating yourself from exploring a lot of movement. Heels down, you're having to use a lot more of the hip, the knee, the ankle. Lower back, you're going to start doing this. You're going to start hip hiking. You're going to start hip hike, hip drop, pelvis starts to rotate. Not as you think of rotation that way in the frontal. Right, so it's tilting, if you like. And I want you to explore the tilts. So let me show you here. The pelvic tilt we've got some shift. Shift is a good thing in a golf swing, guys. It's called sway in biomechanics, and it's good. Okay, so in the right way. So it's got a bad rep in golf. It's not a shift. That's not a biomechanical term. It just sounds better. Golf have said shift because it sounds better. It's a sway. Okay, so a pelvic sway is a good thing. Okay, you need sway to help you use your hip hike. Okay, I'm very stable with a sway because what's complying here? As I go this way, what's happened to my upper body? Yeah, and look, I'm side bending. So your side bend, guys, is not just to help us with swing geometry, it's for dynamic balance to rotate and shift body weight, shift pressure. Not body weight stays fairly central, centre of mass. It's more, you're rotating around your centre of mass this way. So your shoulders have got to do this. If you let your shoulders drop more, you're going to get even better balance. Okay, so let me just step off it for a sec, put your hands by your legs. And all I want you to do, don't pull and push using the shoulders, just let your hands slide down your leg. There you go, there's side bend. Everyone's gone to their right, apart from Jed, that's fine. Good, now go the other way. Look forward as you do it. There you go. This is thoracic side bend here. People cheat and do this. To try and get this.
You just tilted and you haven't bent.
But if we just do this, now I can rotate, look, and I can be going up, look at my hips, they could be doing something different when this happens, as this goes down, to deliver the club. But if I'm reliant on this, for what should be this, I'm putting myself at a big disadvantage in terms of how I'm going to control my low point. I'm going to be severely limited in where I can go. So I'm not going to get the best out of using my lower body for its GRS. It's just got nowhere to go. Yeah, good. Okay, so just explore that. Side bend to your left, slide it down your left leg, and rotate now to your right with your torso. And look down where the ball would be. Feel the length on the right side of your body and how that's long, and the left side of your body, your torso short. Long, short. Yeah. There's that's long, guys. Short. Okay. Now, side bend to your right. And rotate to your left. And imagine you're looking at a golf shot. Does that feel a bit different? Now, you don't have to do this through feel. Just stand side onto me, please. Well, this way. Just
facing you?
Yeah. Imagine you're playing a golf shot towards Brendan.
Okay.
Set up towards Brendan for a golf shot. Okay, take your grip on the club, make a backswing, and on the follow through, your eyes have got to be in line with that. Follow through. There's the side bend. Okay, now, eyes level with this.
Oh, level?
See the difference in swings? Okay. Yeah. Didn't have to tell him how to use side bend, he did it visually with the intention of how he's going to look at the target. So your vision drives your action. Okay. Do it again. Okay, now catwalk is the one. The best version of this, have you seen the South African, well it's just the African women that you see, because they have to walk miles for water and for goods, and they walk and they've got the catwalk and that stays on the head and it's piled high. If we could teach them ladies and gents, but it's generally the ladies who do, if we could teach them golf, they're your best movers, because that is unbelievable what they've got for dynamic balance. It is a catwalk. What I want you to notice is, so we're going to focus on this, we're going to look at the golf ball on that angle, but I want you to use your drop and pop. So you're going to pop, but you're going to look at the golf ball on that angle. Good. So now he's got vertical with right lateral flexion, which is going to help him release later. Because as soon as you lose the lateral flexion, guys, you've got to get to the golf ball. You absolutely have to start. The radius goes out, the low point comes back, and now you've got to somehow get back to the ball, and it's going to do this. So basically that sequence of the club coming last, it's stopping you now. As soon as you do that, it loads the body with inertia. The sequence is lost, and this switches off. And now it's going to happen. But if we could change how he's looking at his golf shot, so I want you to look at the golf shot like that afterwards, but I want you to spring off the floor to do it. There we go, good. So he could use his lower body. So in a golf swing, accordion, you know the musical instruments? Yeah. Your body's like this. As you're swinging up, the lower chain is doing this. And the upper chain is doing that. It's a compression through the rib cage. It's not all going up. The whole thing is going up, but the side bend, this is why it's critical. This is a game changer out of more than probably anything that I've shown you. If you took nothing away, you couldn't increase your distance, this would improve your strike.
Most people are there swinging without just tilting and not bending.
Yeah, they're tilted, not flexing, and just having to release, because as soon as they rotate, I mean, think about how you look at the target afterwards. Yes, you are naturally probably going to extend, but most people are just rotating, and again, it depends. There's a lot of difference. I mean, you look at the tour players and whatnot, you're going to see lots of different variations, but for us guys, we're not comparing apples with apples, okay? We can't be looking at these guys. These are super performers, okay? It's like we're comparing ourselves to like Formula 1 drivers when we get in our car, okay? It's not realistic. We've got to find out how we can create advantages moving wise, okay? And then find out how we can explore it in our own way. What we've just done here is we found a way of laterally flexing without having to think about lateral flexion, because how do you control side bend? You don't. But if you were to look at a golf, if you were to throw a ball, you absolutely would throw it like this. So just do that again, Guy. Look at what Guy's done. There you go, look at the angle of his eyes. Why have his eyes done that? Because his cervical thoracic is side flexing here. And why has it done that? So it can rotate. And why has it done that? Well, it's so it can transfer the forces from the lower body through torque to the arm. As soon as I go like this, you try throwing a ball with no side bend. You keep your eyes horizontal and throw a ball. Very difficult. A lot of us are trying to swing a golf club like that way too early. So we can start to explore how we're looking at the looking. You know, earlier when I talked about the $10,000 basket, you'd be like this, okay, but you face on. Like this. You definitely won't be doing this or this. You'd be like this. You'd be lining up. You'd be getting your dominant eye as close as possible to that line of action. But this has got to be compliant too, because in golf we're doing this. I'm facing over there and looking over here. Then I'm going. So what I want you to do is just simulate your golf swing, and just like we did then, just hold your finish and just get a sense of where you're looking, how you're looking. Does that feel different?
Yes.
You can go to that place after, but you go there early,
Yeah. You're dead.
then you're dead. You can't use your feet.
Yep.
Because if you're here and then you use your feet, you're going to end up even higher. You're pushing your centre of mass off the floor even more. You're going to have to early release even earlier. So this is helping you load your levers, keep them for longer. Look, this is why your body does it. So you can continue, look, it's potential energy, and then you can let it go. So it's part of the chain. So you don't have to be able to throw a ball to do it, you can just simulate it, and you can be like even underarm side on. It's the same thing. So golf's no different to it's a side on action. what this is going to let us do is use our lower body. So now we're going to just use the wobble board and explore what it's like to add that rotation with a bit more of a challenge. We're going to compromise the body a bit, so I'm going to hike to my right, side bend to my left and rotate. So I'm going to load this, what's called lateral line. I'm going to load this hip, load across here, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to hip hike to the left, laterally flex to the right and rotate. So I feel the stretch. Okay, you want to be feeling the stretch down the side of the body. The one big common denominator amongst a lot of very good players is if you watch how their upper body moves, they're like that. When they're not many of them are like this. They're not like standing up and coming out, and they're using lots of lateral flexion. It's like throwing a ball side up. So don't think of throwing a ball, guys. You're thinking golf too much. All I've said is just hip hike to the right. So sway, just sway your hips to the right, let it sway. Let the hip go, that's it, let your hip go out. I'll do it. That's it. Just give him a push. Yes, keep going. No. Jed, ready?
Yeah. To the right?
That way.
Catwalk to me.
Okay.
Don't rotate, just bump your hip. And it's not a hip bumping golf in terms either, by the way, I'm just using it for that.
So this leg.
Because that's a cheat.
This leg is going. So tip the ball to me.
And then you move
This way.
down and then turn, right?
Yeah, so you go your hip hike,
Yeah.
then you laterally flex, then you rotate. Then you look down at the ball, and what's it feel like to do that? Well, I say look at the ball, then you can have a look. You just get a feel for what feels comfortable.
So look at my hip. Where it's
And then go the other way. Laterally flex, hip hike left, laterally flex right, rotate left. Good, that's it, guys.
yeah.
So you're stretching the body, not flex.
And then rotate.
So
Yeah.
shift to the right.
Top my hand. That's it.
Now laterally flex to the left, just slide there, go rotate forward.
To do it in stages, just hold my hip over.
Feel?
Yeah,
You'll hit
Loading the hip. You should feel a load on the hip. You're really loading that tissue across the hip. That's
Flex
linked all the
down
way
this
down
way.
through to the foot.
That's it, and now rotate to me.
Hand to your opposite shoulder.
Good.
yeah.
And then the other way.
Yeah, that's good.
And then come back to neutral.
Okay, now start again.
That's
You're
right.
well done.
Right hand
It's
side.
good that you're on this
And
because
now
you're having to
hit
control
my
it.
hand to the
Yeah.
hip. There you go. And now flex to the right.
So
So your right shoulder
yeah,
goes
tight
lower
with
than
your
your left
left.
shoulder. That's it. And then
That
rotate
height,
to
that
me.
drops, that's
That's
good.
it.
And now
Oh, okay.
flex.
Yeah, and you can feel the
Oh.
stretch here, I'm sure. That feels tight here.
A balance
just trying to
issue,
figure out
but I
what I'm
don't
doing.
feel it for you.
Yeah, it's
Well,
just
this would be for you coming through.
see this helps
And this would be
rotate
if you step back off,
that balance.
you turn to face me.
So you can use your legs more. It's how the players stay really stable to jump.
And rotate right, you'll have to that.
Otherwise you get too much translations, you get too much movement this way, side to side.
So you're neutral here.
You're not getting torque, so you have to get it somewhere.
Right back.
Transfer that momentum somehow.
Rotate to the right.
Supposed to
That's good.
get to that point and then feel that.
Yes.
Feel the stretch, and I know I've gone to rotate.
Now make a swing, guys, with a golf. Just imagine you've got a golf club in your hands. Make a swing, exploring those stretches that you just felt.
Yeah.
Now to get that stretch, guess what's coming? How can we get those stretches? Drop and pop, drop and pop.
Oh, wow.
Perfect, guy.
Make a swing.
Look at that. What we've just done is the wrecking ball without using 7 medicine balls.
This is the, you're introducing the,
Yeah, it's like one
you're introducing
Yeah.
I use it too. I use
yeah.
TheraBands really.
You can figure it out.
Try not to hold something because it's not a golf club. As soon as you hold something, it has an attachment to it. It has connotations of how you move. Whereas you take that away, you're simulating the field. Then you can put a golf club in and create the whole simulation.
What did you just do? Your body just the
Otherwise, you're substituting.
Yeah. You went to show me and you did this.
Good.
Yeah. This
Nice. Now that's fantastic, Jack. Different feeling.
That's what I can't be here instead.
Lovely, Stan. Different.
Yeah. The first place you wanted to go was left, to go right. To build momentum to go that way, you went left first. And then you pushed off it exactly.
When you do that on here, it takes on a different kind of dimension in terms of how you can move to swing the arms. So here now, you can use this, because now you've got rotation. So now you can actually use the rotation. The rotation is helping you with the low point. As soon as this goes, my low point's moving massively. This is leaving the ground. This is going up as I rotate. So I'm bringing my low point back. So here, now you can decide when you want to go. So that left side bend that you're feeling, you can keep it for longer. You can stay in it and drop. How low can you go, essentially? Not that way. Okay, but that's okay. Watch Stan. Do it again, Stan. Nearly, Stan. There you go. Okay, so you can see where the missing links are. Because that's not quite right either, so in terms of functionality. So we've got to find a way of getting down there. How are we going to explore that space? So you're all going to do this in a sec. Stan? Yes, that was good, Cheryl. Stan, just put that under your left foot. Right, hold that on your left shoulder with your right hand. And just swing back. Imagine you're making a backswing. Now, see how close you can get that to the one under your foot. There you go. Now, no. Do it again. I didn't say swing through, did I? Just go down. Now, where's his next? What's he going to do next? He's going to pop off this one. And that's going to get thrown up. Yes. So you're loading the chain and then you're firing it. You're passively loading it with your mass. It's easy work. You don't have to do anything. This is effortless. It's a free fall. And then you can just fire it. When you throw a ball, the only effort is this bit. This bit's no effort. It's passive loading. It's not active. There we go. And look, he's using his rotation now. What he's actually doing is he's tensioning the body and spiraling into the floor. In fact, you'll actually find yourself continually rotating in your downswing. There is no top of backswing. You're continually moving until you want to go vertical. You're probably still spiraling back. You're not going to the top 90 degrees and then holding it and going down. You're still rotating back as you're going down. Throw a ball. As you go forward, you're rotating. You don't plant the foot and then fire. You're still rotating because you're loading the system. It's a pronation. It's how you walk.
Still rotating.
You're loading the chain as you walk, ready to fire from the ground. Yes, Guy. Now watch Guy. I'm going to have to take you off. Look at that. See that? You're all going to become expert at seeing movements. Because you need to be when you're looking at your own swing. So if you video your swing, you're not looking at it from a technical kind of P position. You're looking at functional movement patterns like that, Jimmy. Exactly. Which then can be relatable to everyday movements like throwing a ball or kicking. As opposed to something else that's not naturally evolved. Look at that. Then, do it again, Jimmy. I want to see where that goes. Yes. But he can go there because his body is familiar. It's not unexpected. Your body's got to know what to expect. What you're going to get is a sympathetic nervous system response. Because if it doesn't know where it's going, it freezes. You get a fight, flight, freeze in motion. and the body stops. And
Volley lob. Well, that's
but if it knows where it's going,
always been on my right side.
if it knows where it's going, it's going to let you go there, and then you're just going to take it into that hemisphere. You've been here, you've stretched it. Probably more extreme than you're going to use in a golf swing. You make the training harder than the real thing. It's the Navy SEALs. Yeah? Sweating training in it so you don't bleed in battle. Okay? So it's the same thing. Your body's already explored these extreme, possibly places. You can go there if you want. Look at how Jack's moving. Go show us, Jack. And again, show us how you create that from the start. What's the momentum from the beginning? How do you go back? Where's the whole thing? Look at that. And where's the pop? Awesome. So suddenly I say, where's the pop? There's a whole movement pattern. One word has so many layers and meaning to it. Instead of having to think about all this technical stuff, you have one word, and behind it is the whole feeling that you've generated through all these exercises. So you can start to appreciate hitting ball after ball after ball after ball and not doing any exercises and practicing the way we were earlier. And it was practice, it wasn't play. It's serving you very little purpose. Just imagine how good you can get in movement, like Eric said about recognising how you move, just doing this at home. Because as soon as you pick a club up now, it's going to have some meaning. And imagine what's going to happen. Just have a look at Jack again. Do that again, Jack.
Glenn.
Same
Glenn.
thing. Sorry, Glenn. I'm miles away, sorry, Glenn.
That's okay.
Right, Glenn, so, is that a big divot or a small divot?
That was a big one.
Is it what?
Would that make a big divot or a small divot? Do it again.
I don't know.
So what might be a big divot?
Not.
Just do the movement, don't show me any golf swing move. What would this do?
Well, if you don't do that, you end up back down here.
So show me what you could do, not golf swing wise, just movement to make a big divot. Yes, but springing as well to the finish. There you go. Look at that. Just the intention of what that movement could produce has changed how he's moving. We don't know if it's going to do it or not yet, but that's now the joy and the fun of practice. So we're creating a challenge and we're going to rise to it. We're going to find out if that actually does what we intend it to do.
Blowing away and falling over.
What's blowing away?
Well, I think your iPad just fell over.
Oh,
That
I'll
is-
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good, Glenn, but we need to get the pop. Okay. So this is where we're going to go next. We're going to load the system up a little bit more. I'm going to challenge you. So let's just go round first and see everyone's move. Jed, show me your move. Just put your hands together. Imagine you've got a club. Is that how you'd hold a golf club? Is that your grip? Do you just, baseball grip, or do you have interlock or?
No, overlap.
Overlap, so overlap.
Yeah, overlap. Okay.
You can simulate any action to me in any other sport, but I say put a golf club in your hand and it kind of just ends up just being some kind of, it's just, there's no real finesse or recognition of what the end of the chain is. But if I said show me a tennis shot or a table tennis, you'd be like, you'd really be switched on this end. So we've got to have that acuity here to the movement that we're making. So I want you to grip it, I want you to feel the pressure in the fingers, grip, re-grip, increase soft, light, really squeeze them together and then relax it. So do it again, Jed, let's have a look. Grip it like a golf club.
Okay.
Well done. And again. A bit more drop and pop on the left side now. Well done. Excellent. So it means something. Okay? You having a go, Brendan?
Yeah, of course.
Well done.
Good for him.
Stand. Well Well done, Stan. Excellent. Lovely. Fantastic. Yeah, faster now, Cheryl. Drop pot, drop pot. Well done. Yeah. Super. So you've got some recognition. Of course, it's a little bit distorted in terms of there's no club in the hands. That's okay. We're just going to feel a bit more spring now. We're going to do a little step drill. It's an extension of the exercise on the vector map. You're going to step to your left and drop, but you're going to turn your foot in. Imagine a clock face. The foot is at 12. It starts at 12. You're going to turn it into 1 o'clock as you drop. This is going to load your left hip. Notice what you also do. Look where the lead shoulder goes naturally. And which direction have you rotated? You've not rotated left to target, have you, to load? So when you're doing this in your golf swing, you best be rotating that way if you want to load this chain, ready to then fire. So then what we can do now is we can fire it from the toe. So now you can use the ball of the foot, and I just want you to spring up. Not back, up. Both feet up in the air, just a little jump. Good. And notice where your foot returned to. Its normal, natural place. So when you see that kind of rainbow move, they call it, and stuff like that, where the foot's like, it's a reaction to the chain you've just made. It's a tissue, it's the loading of the tissue, and then let it go, and you're going to get stuff like this. If you're using the ground, like probably Mike does, and guys like an Eric, guys who are, when they're going for big drives, okay, you're going to see, particularly nowadays, where people are more focused on leg action. Now, we can narrow the stance a bit as well. As well, yeah, there you go. So it's not a big stride, just a little one, but turn the foot in more. The more you turn the foot in, the more you're loading the hip, and load yourself into the ball of your foot. So now you need your left toe. You need the left toe. Your left toe is an important part of your body as a right-hander. Yes, Cheryl. So that movement that you're feeling through your foot, is that fast or slow?
Fast.
It's fast. This, fast. It's got to be. It's got to move your hip. And this is a lot bigger than that. The faster you move, the more force you get. It's got to move fast for a short range. Bang. Then you get forced to move this. Good. Now we don't have to jump off the floor, as in, it's just a. But I want you to just perfect stand. Watch how stands you. What you're doing is you're using your hip shift, the hip sway, the hip height. Look. This is hip rotation. It's going to fire from the ground. Now you don't need that to turn the foot in, guys, because that puts a bit of stress through the left side. So now stand normally, simulate your movement, and feel where you can go to get that same load. Now Cheryl's just done it absolutely perfect. Do it again. Look at this. See, she's that good, she don't even know what she's doing. Look at that. So, just do it again. Remember when you walk, watch me. Where do I go? To load. Naturally, you're going to pronate. Then, as I push off, just watch. Watch Cheryl. Learn from Cheryl. Look at that. That's awesome.
Oh, well, thank you.
So, becoming expert movers, recognising expert movement. Because this is your expertise, so as a golfer, so you've got to, what expertise have you got to call on? Well, this is what you need to recognise, because that becomes intuition, and so you can go there, you've got your rehearsal swing, and now you can move in, it's like, I know what I'm going to do. Okay? It's kind of, I know how this is going to feel. Just grab your golf clubs, guys, find some space, and let's just have a few swings, and let's play around with this before we reconvene.